guys, there was like three times.
Yeah,
was it 3 or 4 times he shows butt cheeks?
3 times he shows butt cheeks.
You know, Tom Cruise might be aging a little bit, but that ass though, still Top Gun. Yeah. What's up, you film nuts? How are you guys doing today? I'm Jimmy. This is Jake, and as always, we love you guys, and we've seen another movie. What movie did we see this time, Jake?
American Made.
American Made.
With the one, the only, Tom Cruise.
Are you guys Tom Cruise fans? I loved him in Last Samurai.
Scientology.
Jake is a well-known Scientologist. Please don't put your hate in the comments. Well, let's get right to the plot. Let's get right to the plot. Jake, what happened? Right. What is this movie about?
An airline pilot named Barry Seal, who is Tom Cruise, is recruited by the CIA in the late 70s, and throughout the late 70s and into the 80s, he is flying back and forth between South, Central America, and the United States. He runs into people like Pablo Escobar, the Contras in Nicaragua, ends up meeting Ronald Reagan.
Making all sorts of friends. And guys, this is actually a true story, which I didn't know. And this guy lived a crazy life.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's crazy. It's another story about how shitty the CIA was in the Cold War. I mean, it's no MK Ultra.
A good old fashioned CIA flick.
Yeah.
But it was the movie had its flaws, but it wasn't too bad. It didn't leave us quite as upset as maybe like the movie Mother did, or as angry as Mother did. But that was the purpose probably of Mother. So let's get into characters, Jake.
Yeah. Well,
who's in this movie, man?
Cast and
Actors, cast and crew.
Tom Cruise, famous for Top Gun, Mission Impossible, Last Samurai.
Classic.
The Jerry Maguire.
What's your guys' favorite Tom Cruise movie?
What was that heist movie? What was that movie he did? The one with he was really young. Risky Business.
Risky Business.
All right.
The famous just take those old records off the shelf.
Yes.
I listen to it.
We're done. Okay. Moving on. Alongside him is Domhnall Gleeson, who played Bill Weasley in Harry Potter. He was in Ex Machina. He was in The Revenant.
The son of Brendan Gleeson. Shout out to Braveheart. Great movie. Great
very famous ginger. Next,
he's been in a lot of movies.
Sarah Wright, who was in 21 and Over. The love interest of the main character, I believe. She played that sorority girl.
Yep.
House Bunny. I don't know what she played in that movie. I haven't seen House Bunny
in a long time. But I don't remember what she was in it. But,
and then Walk of Shame, which I haven't seen. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, she is beautiful in this movie.
Oh yeah, no.
She's gorgeous.
Hands down. Yeah.
Tom Cruise's wife.
She's a good actress.
She's a very lucky man.
Not in real life. In the movie, it's Tom Cruise's wife.
Yes.
I don't even know if Tom Cruise is married, but.
No, I don't believe he is.
Then we got director Doug Liman and writer Gary Spinelli.
Who, I feel like I'm pretty good with directors, and I am not too familiar with Doug Liman. So he must have not done anything real big. But I'm gonna have to do some research on him. But all right, well, Jake, initial reactions, man.
Yeah.
What you thinking? How'd the film leave you?
I mean, I already had opinions about the CIA and the whole Cold War situation.
So did this movie just kind of anger you?
Not really. It was just kind of like, I already knew that happened. I already knew this happened. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it was a good way of telling it. And I think that it's a good way to tell people about what happened.
So guys, for me with this movie, I would say, right as soon as it ended, I turned to Jake and I'm like, it left me wanting a little more. It was a decent movie, but I feel like for as crazy as a story that this guy had, they could have did it a little better. And you know what? Usually after you watch like a really good movie that you're really all about, you can pick out right away the scenes, what dialogue, if it's funny or crazy things. After seeing that movie, I can't quite say there was a scene that was absolutely insane. There were definitely some action-filled scenes and whatnot, but no really scenes where I'm like, I gotta go watch that again, or it really, really, really stuck out to me.
I mean, this whole guy's life was insane, but at the same time, no pivotal moment you were like, holy shit.
And you know what? And that might be kind of at fault with a little bit of the pacing of the movie. I felt like if they paced it out a little better, maybe dive in a little more into the characters, a little bit in the background, how they went about telling the story. There was a lot of jumping around. You know, you're introduced to the character in the beginning of the film, and then they just kind of throw you right in, and it just from that point on, it's just this to that to this to that, and some movies, you know, that works. I feel like that led to a fault really in the character development, because there's some cool characters in this, guys. There's Pablo Escobar. There's you know, and they didn't really go into them. So kind of going into the characters. So like, what do you think of Tom Cruise's characters and the other characters in the movie?
I mean, they did well. Tom Cruise's character really wasn't all that developed, to be honest with you.
It was.
He was the most developed character, but he wasn't.
Because the movie was all about him. But the character himself, he was a little more of an average Joe kind of thrown into this. But I connected with him. But at the same time, it wasn't a huge connection. It wasn't like he was my, you know, because he was just doing a lot of shady stuff, you know. So this guy, it was kind of like Wolf of Wall Street with Leonardo DiCaprio. I didn't get that attachment to Leo, because I'm like, you know what, especially Leo's character in that movie, you know, Jordan Belfort, what a just shady guy. I'm like, if I see that guy in the street, you know, I would just punch him in the face for all the people he screwed over. Not saying Tom Cruise's character was quite that, you know, as bad, but he was a okay character. Yeah. And I think that's kind of for the rest of the characters. They were played well, but the script didn't really allow their characters to really blossom and really come out. And also kind of go into there was one character in the film, the JB character, that both me and Jake, we kind of felt like they were hinting towards something that was about to happen, or something was really he was gonna be a catalyst for something really crazy in this film.
Nothing happened.
But then nothing really
and then
much
you get,
happened.
you know, Domhnall Gleeson's character. He plays the CIA guy. Basically, they call him Schaefer. But I think he played him the way that the writer wanted him to, but he was too nice. That whole situation, I mean, yeah, he was a shithead because he's in the CIA, but he didn't portray it as a shithead. I mean, it was proven fact that the CIA officers in that time were way more charismatic. They were way more...
He just seemed like a guy trying to move up on the totem pole, really, in the CIA.
Yeah, which, back then, the character that he portrayed would have been a little more aggressive towards Barry Seal. You know what I mean? He needed it to get done. He needed Barry to do it, and he needed him to do it the way he wanted it. He almost kind of... At some points, you were kind of like, oh, this guy's like a prick. But no, like back in the day, they were, and they would leverage anything over you to get what you need to get done.
Yeah, I wouldn't quite call his character like really he like the main antagonist bad guy. No. They could have kind of played him off a little bit, but I don't think he was supposed to be. But also in the trailer, they kind of play him like he's dancing, kind of like, you know, welcome to CIA. And throughout the film,
where that scene's from is the only time that something like that happens.
And that kind of fades away. That kind of funniness, the quirkiness to his character. Yeah. So he's kind of stuck in the middle a little bit. I would have loved to seen them kind of dive a little further into his character.
And honestly, the CIA takes a backseat to Pablo Escobar and his crew anyways.
Yeah, that's true.
And then the Contras.
So, getting to our pros and cons. My pros, good acting. There was some solid acting in this from good actors and actresses. Another pro we didn't quite go into, there was a lot of unique shots in this movie. It was very weird. The framing of some shots was very funky. I don't know if you picked up on that at all.
Yeah.
But that was some things. There was just some funky framing shots in this movie, and I thought that was kind of cool. It kind of added to the film's uniqueness. But the last pro I'd probably say would be I think it was beautiful cinematography. Overall, like I was saying, it was some beautiful scenes. You know, they captured Central America and South America. They had some really good chance to really capture that environment. And the cinematography in the film, they did it. and I thought that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool. Jake, what are your pros?
Pros wise, which I will explain later in the spoiler section, has to do with the CIA a little bit. And then my cons were, I wish they would have gone in more into Jorge and Pablo and all of them when it comes to the drugs. And even more with the Contras. You know, a lot of people don't really...
That's an interesting time in history. Honestly, I don't know too much about it. So that was nice.
I love the Cold War era. Jimmy's a big Civil War buff, so he's...
There's definitely a lot of times in Civil War.
But
Jake's a Chernobyl nut. Mention Chernobyl to him.
I'm a huge
Jake, put that away.
I'm a huge Cold War, Soviet era. So, yeah.
Jake was upset they didn't mention Chernobyl in this movie. I think. Guys, he delivered to Chernobyl? I don't understand. For my cons, guys, kind of what we were talking about, characters, they could have been, I feel like, a little spicier, but they were more kind of on the dull side, a lot of the characters. Pacing was a little choppy. It didn't allow the film to flow, as I feel like the movie Goodfellas, which I'm kind of comparing this movie to a little bit, just kind of because the plots have a little bit in common. Goodfellas just flows. This movie, not so much. Sometimes it's got you asking questions. Sometimes things just feel a little off. Character development didn't get to really know the characters really as well as I feel like you really could have dived a little more deeper in the characters.
There wasn't any emotional involvement. There wasn't.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Didn't quite feel.
Nothing hooked you to a certain character. That's right. So and it was like.
Yeah, that's true. So guys, for my final review, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10. How about you, Jake? Cons and final review?
6.5.
6.5?
6.5. I love the Cold War, but 6.5.
Decent movie.
Straight up, officially, decent movie.
Decent movie.
So, from here on out, we're doing some spoilers because there's some things I want to talk about that are kind of get in a little too much detail. If you don't want the spoilers, goodbye.
Thank you for watching.
Yes, if you do want to stay for the spoilers, you're welcome to stay.
Alright, let's get into spoilers.
It's a true story, so...
Let's get into it.
The only thing that I had a problem with is the inaccuracies with the CIA towards the beginning kind of thing. But then all of a sudden it really hit a good point when they were handing out the burn bags in the office. You know, when Domhnall Gleeson, basically when Schaefer realizes he no longer needs Barry Seal anymore, he says bye. He just basically says bye to Barry Seal. Says we'll call you. Walks away, and he says, Schaefer, and he goes, who the fuck is Schaefer? And keeps walking. Perfect. I think that's a good representation. And then Schaefer gets back to the office and he starts handing out paper bags to put anything related to Barry Seal, anything related to the town that they moved into.
I liked how in the end, how they were talking about, he goes in the guy's office at the end and he's like, how about if we get the Russians to arm
Iranians. Get the Iranians to arm the Contras.
There you go.
Which ended up being a huge deal and a huge scandal later on. And
it leaves you thinking, those mother.
Yeah, which is basically.
Damn. How upsetting! How upsetting!
Which was basically the feeling about the CIA at the end of the Cold War.
You know, I've been waiting to say this because we're waiting for spoilers. But how about Tom Cruise's butt cheeks? Tom Cruise shows his butt. I was surprised. There was like 3 times.
Yeah,
was it 3 or 4 times he shows his butt
3
cheeks?
times he shows butt cheeks.
You know, Tom Cruise might be aging a little bit. But that ass, though, still Top Gun.
That was such a bad joke. I can't not laugh.
I'm sorry, that was so stupid.
I can't not laugh. That was...
But guys, I believe that is all from us today. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. Thank you guys for watching. And we will catch you next time on Film Nuts. See you guys.
Goodbye.
Yeah.